Well, hello everyone and welcome to a little discussion video on Total War Warhammer. This is going to be about the sieges, and the gameplay you're seeing is from the Siege of Altdorf, taken from Total War's video, which released a couple of days ago, I think on Thursday or Friday, which has the Vampire Count led by Heinrich Kemmler versus the Empire led by Balthazar Gelt. They do say the footage is an unscripted custom battle, so you'll be seeing snippets of that battle throughout the video. Now, my cold or flu or whatever it is has actually come back, so if I still sound really nasally in this video, it's because everything is blocked. And it has been for the past 2 weeks, so I think I'm going to go to the doctor and see if I can get something for it, because this is not fun anymore. But I digress. So, the purpose of this video is to discuss the sieges in Total War Warhammer, and if they're going to be too linear and I guess not really be that flexible anymore. So we can see from the Siege of Altdorf, there's only one way forward. So there's only one line of walls that you can attack from. So traditionally in Total War sieges, there's been, 3, possibly 4 directions that you could attack from, which gave it a degree of flexibility and strategicness, which is a very bad way of describing it. But you had lots of different options of how to approach the siege, and in Warhammer you have to attack from one direction. That's it, you can only attack from that one direction. So I haven't played the sieges, so this is my opinion based on the footage that we've seen from the YouTubers and Total War itself. But in the video, Darren decides to attack only on the right flank, probably to give it that sense of, I guess, epicness which we expect from Total War. And the video certainly was good fun to watch, and seeing it only attack that one flank, both forces could engage fully, and each side had a fairly even chance of victory. So I guess people's most fond memories of sieges are probably from, I guess, Rome Total War and Medieval 2 Total War. Those were kind of the first two games which introduced those kind of huge sieges on a huge scale, especially Medieval 2, when you could have different tiers of defences in castles. And those are definitely the memories that I have extremely fond memories of, especially Rome Total War. I think just seeing sieges on that sense of scale for the very first time was just insane. And after the sieges in Medieval 2, the sieges, you can't really call them, I wouldn't really call them sieges in games like Empire and Napoleon. Those were only really kind of large fort battles, which are still incredibly fun, but they didn't have the same, I guess, sense of scale, and I just didn't really play many of them. I didn't find them that fun to do, especially on Empire Total War. They were very buggy, I found, and I was always kind of curious as to why city battles were kind of left out primarily in Empire and Napoleon. To an extent, Shogun 2, but there were huge fortresses in Shogun 2, so those were a lot of fun to take part in. And then with Rome 2 and Total War Attila, the kind of sieges were reintroduced, and the cities had very scalable levels of size. So it could be from a small town to a huge city like Carthage, although the CA did overpromise with the sieges in Rome 2, especially with the city of Carthage. It never was as epic as what we saw in that pre-alpha build, like well over a year before the game released. But I really enjoyed having the cities back, and especially custom sieges, or like custom settlements, like the Constantinople in Total War Attila, with the Theodosian walls. Those kind of sieges are what I play Total War for. So in the video, Darren does mention that this is a tier 4 city, so the siege, the towers which fire onto the Vampire Count are extremely powerful, and we definitely see that because one of the siege towers actually gets destroyed in the video. I will leave a link to the full siege battle in the description if I remember, so do feel free to go and check that siege out. So the main difference with the sieges in Total War Warhammer is the fact that the walls are a lot larger than, not the actual height of the walls, but the depth of the walls are a lot larger than what we've seen in any Total War game previously, which does add a degree of flexibility to the battles. So you've got more opportunity for units to go to and fro, and for multiple units to engage on the walls. And then once one side has clearly won the fight for the walls, then we'll be able to fight in the city. So the city that they showed was absolutely huge, but you're only able to fight in a small part of it. So that is another limitation, I think, that we're going to have in the Sieges of Total War Warhammer. However, I think having sieges too large would kind of make them unplayable and a little bit boring. So the extremely large cities in Rome 2 were a bit of a grind fest to get through, especially if, say, you're playing on the largest settlement size of Rome. That is a huge city. Like, if you get through the walls, you're going to have to just walk your men through to the town centre, and that will take probably about 5 minutes of just walking through there. So I think that's a smart decision by CA to limit the actual playable area of the sieges inside the city. When it comes to the approaches of attack, only having one direction to attack from, it's going to be interesting. I haven't played the sieges, so I can't really give an opinion of what it's like to play it. For that, you have to ask people like Warrior Sparta and Lionheart. They've been very lucky to be able to record footage at the studio. But I am still optimistic about sieges. It seems like the overall reception has been extremely positive on the social media bits that I've looked at. I try not to look at social media too much because some of it is just incredibly hostile. But seeing the siege play out, it kind of played out how a typical siege in Total War would traditionally. So there's still different approaches to the town centre in the city that you can take. So there's definitely opportunities for the defenders to just abandon the walls completely if you wanted to, and just focus on defending the town centre and kind of align the way with pikes and stuff like that, which is my usual tactic for sieges. And yeah, so I guess to sum up, I'd like to know your opinion, by the way, if you think the sieges are going to be a bit too linear in Warhammer, or if you think that they're going to be epic. But from the siege that Joey and Darren did, it definitely did give a sense of scale. Seeing the fight on the walls last for quite some time was very fun to see. And I think the only way I'm going to be able to tell 100% if I'm happy with the sieges in Warhammer is when I actually get to play it, which I'm really looking forward to. So we're less than 2 months away from release now, so not long to go before everyone can get their hands on Total War Warhammer. The sieges that we've seen have been of varying scale. I think the largest one we have seen is the one which the Total War team have put out. I think that they're going to be a little bit more linear than traditional Total War sieges. However, I'm not sure that that's going to be a bad thing. So I reckon there's still going to be a huge amount of fun, especially when you're going to like doing 2v2 sieges or even just large sieges. They're going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more. Of course, let me know your opinions of sieges on Total War as a whole, or just on Total War Warhammer in the description below, or in the comments below, I should say. And apologies if there seem like there's been lots of cuts and breaks in this video. I've been coughing and spluttering throughout recording this, so I'm going to try and cut all that out and make it as streamlined as possible, and so you won't hear any coughing or swearing. So I'll leave it there for now, but until next time everyone, I bid you a very, very good day.